In the previous lecture, we had successfully implemented all the route implementations related to the user router, where we had implemented the sign up feature, the login feature, and the OTP workflow that included three endpoints: request OTP, resend OTP, and the verify OTP. In addition to that, we had also integrated JWT based authentication for the security purposes. And we had also successfully tested the JWT setup as well by including the token in the request sent through Postman and validating the token on the backend in multiple scenarios, like providing the correct token, invalid token, no token, and with many other such scenarios. So in today's lecture, we are going to be implementing another router, and that is going to be the job posting router. So job posting router is exclusive to users with role recruiter. So the very basic functionality that we can look for with respect to the job posting router is going to be two endpoint implementations. One is that a recruiter should be able to create a new job posting as and when the recruiter needs, and the recruiter should be able to get a glimpse or a view of what all job postings have been created by the user in the past, right? And probably would want to know that what is the current status of the job opening, how many people have applied, how many people the recruiter has marked shortlisted, etc. These many things. Okay, so this is what we are going to be working upon today. And for that, what I have done is I have added the implementation for this job posting entity, that is this class in type ORM, that will directly map to a database table when we will run our application, since I have made synchronize true here. So looking at the definition of this table, it has this ID as its primary key, which is marked as a UUID. That means it is not an auto incremented ID just like we had in case of users. Instead, this is going to be a UUID that database will generate on its own. Then we have the title. That means whenever someone or a recruiter post a job opening, it should clearly indicate what title or position the opening is made for. Then a small brief, for the opening. What does it need? Who will be an ideal candidate, etc. Then we have the minimum qualification attached to every job posting, which is also a kind of an enum here. And if you look at this enum, this has three categories: graduate, postgraduate, and doctorate. We don't have any other categories here as of now, but if needed, we can definitely add, as many as key value pairs or entries in this enum, based on our requirements. And then we have the sector. So sector is something that that recruiter also gives as an information while signing up on this platform. But there may be scenarios where a recruiter might want to hire for positions that might not directly correlate with the what the core sector of the company is. So that is why in the job posting as well, I have added this sector as well. So it might happen that a recruiter who has signed up being an IT recruiter may be able to create openings for the education sectors, for the manufacturing sector, depending upon the type of business that they are currently operating with. And then we have the number of vacancies that the posting is being made for. That this job posting is attracting so many number of vacancies than the current number of applicants that have applied to this job posting. And then the metadata for the row that is created at and updated at, similar to what we have already seen in the earlier tables that we have created. And then what we have done here is we have created and added a many to one relation, and the join one column is created here on this side. That means this is going to be the owner side of this relationship. And since this is the owner side, so there would be a reverse relationship as well. So let us look at the user entity. And at the end, we will find that a one-to-many relationship do exist here. So that means a user should be able to create multiple job postings. That is why it is one-to-many from user to job posting. A user can have multiple job postings. All right. And for that to happen, I would leave this synchronize true here, but I'll make sure that I turn off the synchronize option for all other entities so that I don't end up losing the data in the existing tables that I have. Uh, so job posting, I'll leave it as it is. Uh, this I would change it to false, and then the user entity I would also change it to false. And then now I'll come to the data source option, and here I would turn this option on. Looking at the current state of our database, okay, uh, yeah, so we have three tables as of now: users, recruiter details, and candidate details. All right, we might be able to get rid of this row called or row having ID 6, since the respective recruiter details entity didn't add up in the table, because we didn't add the cascade option the last time when we created this user. So maybe I'll just get rid of this entry, and it's better to have a single user with the complete information in the system. Okay, so now I'll come to the terminal, and I would say npm run, okay, npm run dev, and the moment this application starts, job posting controller is not allowing it to do so. So let us take a look at what is happening. Uh, so job posting controller, where we might have added some extra code. All right, so this is the issue. Again, we have to create a new repository for this new table that we have recently added. So let's head to this repository thing, and let's have it here, job posting, and let's create a repository for that too. Job posting repository equals to job portal data source dot get repository, and this should get job posting, and then we are going to export it along with the user repository, right? And now coming back to this might have a spelling problem with the repositories files, so I'll simply replace it with the job uh, posting repository. This is a suggestion. All right, now if I run this again, so this time the app is successful to run. And now if I come back to my database and refresh this, so you could see that I have gotten a new table created here. Job postings having ID, title, brief, minimum qualification, and all other columns that we had added in that entity class. All right, so that's great. And now what will I do is I will also turn off this option of synchronize in this table as well, right? So that in no way this table should attempt to be created once again in the database. Okay, now looking at the two controller implementations that I talked about in the beginning of this lecture. One is that a new recruiter, or even a any recruiter, should be able to create a new job posting, and should be able to view a list of all job postings that have been created by him or her in the past. So firstly, let us look at the controller that has already been implemented for creating a new job posting. Now, the very first thing that I want you to take a look at closely is the this variable called request user. Now, if you could recall from our last session when we added the authentication middleware with the help of JWT authentication. So in this user auth, we added this request user equals to user. That means we added a new property named user in the request object, and we assigned the entire user object to it. And the point for doing that in the previous session was so that we can make available the relevant or the required information to the actual controllers that would help the controllers identify the actual user who is making that request. And the same thing, the same use case has now come. So if you take a look here, request user, how are we using it? We are using it in order to create a new job posting, and then in order to map that who has created this job posting in the user ID column that exists in the job postings table, we are adding the ID of the user. And where is this ID coming from? This ID is coming from the user object that has already been added to the request object. All right. And if we look at all the options that we require for this controller, then we need the title, we need brief, we need minimum qualification. That must be one of those that we have defined in the enum. Then we need the sector and the number of vacancies. If any of this option is not provided, then the request will be straight away rejected. And in case we get all these things, then the simplest thing we could do is to insert this entry in the database. Now, one thing that I want you to take a note of is, in the previous session or in the previous lectures, we have been using save option in order to insert entities into the database. And idea of using save option is that in case the entity does not exist in the database, then it will be created. But in case it does already exist, then it won't be reinserted again. Instead, it will be updated in case the values have been updated. And in case no values have been updated, it will still try to update that with the new values or even the same values that you are trying to provide. Whereas insert will only try to ingest that particular row in the table. Okay, so talking about the difference between save and insert is, insert will perform only one query, that is the insert query, whereas save will try to perform two queries. One, it will first try to run a get query or a select query that will try to get in case such a row already exists in the database. In case it does not exist, it inserts. In case it already exists, it updates. Whereas insert only does the updating. And that's why if you try to provide a duplicate entry in case of insert, then this function fails, this query fails. Because save will not fail because it will simply update that, whereas this would fail. Since you are trying to create a duplicate query, a duplicate row in the same table. So that is why your insert query will be rejected with an error. So this is the difference between insert and save function. Now, this was the create job posting. It was quite simple. Now, looking at the next controller, we have get all job postings. This is also quite simple, but here we have used a very important concept called pagination. Now, pagination is something that is very vital when it comes to viewing a large set of data, or data having large numbers to be shown to any user of your application. So here we basically work with the two main attributes. One is we ask what is going to be the page and what is going to be the page size. So page is, let's say, if you have 1,000 entries to be shown to the user, so instead of showing 1,000 entries upfront to the user on a single view, you could break those 100 entities in a set of 10, and you could create 10 sets having 10 entities each. And in a view, you are only going to show 10 entities to the user. This is also going to be optimized at the backend, because now you are not requesting all the 100 entities from your backend server. You are only requesting 10 entities for your from your server at a time, right? And when the user wants to move to the next set of entities, or want to move to the previous set of entities, then you could simply send another request to the backend saying that I want another set of entities, right? So that is why there is a concept of page number and page size. So if you have 100 entities, you create a set of 10 having 10 entities each. So you will create 10 page numbers starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the page size here is 10 as well. Now, this is not something that is very standard. The page number and especially the page size is something that is kind of dynamic based on the requirements that the user may have. I'm talking about a page number of or the page size of being 10, but someone might want to have it as 20, someone might want to have it as 50, depending upon their own requirements. But this is the idea behind, pagination concept. You take a page number, you define a page size, and accordingly you fetch the data from the database so that you don't end up, loading a lot of data into the memory of your backend and sending a very large payload to your front end as well, right? Just to avoid that. So if you look at it, we have these two variables, page size and page number, though I have not marked these attributes as kind of mandatory because I'm looking for these attributes in the query parameter. And in case I don't get this, then I am simply going to assume that the page size is 10. Similarly, if I don't receive the page number, I am going to assume that the page number is 1. Now, the very first thing that I do is, in order to successfully use the concept of pagination, I first need to find out that how many such entities are there that exist in the database, that satisfies the given criteria. Now, currently, there is no kind of, where clause that we have added, but in case, we might want to add features like, in case the, recruiter wants to put filter on, viewing the job postings which have at least 10 applicants, then in that case, I would be adding a few more things in the where clause here. But currently, it is straightforward. So what I'm doing here is, I'm simply saying that, firstly, get me the count of total number of postings that are created by this particular user. Which user? Whoever is making this request. This is again coming from the authentication middleware that we had set up. And once we have gotten the total number of postings, now when it comes to fetching the actual data, we won't be fetching the so many number of data rows. We are only going to fetch the page size number of rows. So here, if you take a look at job posting dot repository or job posting repository dot find, we are saying I want to get the entities where the user is this, but make sure that you skip these many rows and you only take these many rows in your output. So skip and take is almost equivalent to limit and offset in the raw SQL that you might have used in your SQL courses before. And this job postings will get you the data, and at the end simply you return this data to your front end, and the front end should be able to populate this data accordingly for the view purpose of the user. So these two are some straightforward controllers. Now that the controllers are implemented, maybe we should create routes for them and see them going in action. So let me come back to the job posting router. Here the router is already set up. All we need to do is create the actual route implementations. So I would do that here. I would say this dot router dot post. So for creating a new job post, I would require the request to be of type post. So here I would say job. Okay. Since we are working with the REST API endpoints, so we will try to avoid HTTP verbs in the endpoint name itself. So I would say job and the request type is post. That is, that should be understood that you are trying to create a new job, right? Post job. And what endpoint or what controller you would want to call whenever this endpoint is hit, you might want to call create job post. Okay, all right. But wait, do you want this job posting or create job posting controller to be accessed by anyone? Though your front end might not, call this endpoint when the user is not already logged in. But what happens in case this endpoint is already revealed? Then any user will be able to access this particular endpoint. And would that user be able to create a new job posting as well? Well, no. The simple reason for that is, if you come back to the job posting controller, in both of these controllers, we are using this request user. And if the user has not provided the token, then this user field will not be populated. And this user field will not be populated, then in that case, this is going to result in an error because request user will be undefined. And if you try to access any property from an undefined object, then you would land into an error. So that is why make sure that you mark this endpoint as a protected one. And how do we do that? What I'm going to do is I'm simply going to import this user auth. And here I'm going to create this user auth dot verify JWT, and I'm going to mark this as uh, okay, this is auth, like this. All right. And the same thing I would copy, uh, and maybe I would make it jobs. And instead of post, I would say get. Right? And instead of calling create job posting, I would say get all job postings, right? So both of these two routes are now implemented. All right. Now, if I come back to the V1 router, so user router was mapped with user, and this is mapped with jobs. All right. So let me go to the Postman where I have already, created, uh, organization or a structure for, all of our endpoints. Maybe I'll just add the base URL here. This is user. This is also going to be user. This is user 2. Uh, this is user as well. Okay, all these fall under the same router, that is user. So yeah, I'll just add it here. And then I have created a new folder here, job posting. So what I would do is I would create a new request here, and that request is going to be create job, right? Here I'm going to make use of a environment variable base that is already equivalent to localhost 8080 API v1. And here I would define what router I want to go with. I want to go with the router uh, jobs. So I would go to jobs. I would go to jobs. And now, since we are already, seeing this base router with the name jobs, so coming back to this, I don't think we actually require, job here or jobs here. The jobs itself is self-explanatory that this is a route that is going to do something with respect to the jobs. So you might be thinking that how could this be correct when we are leaving both of the endpoint definitions with the same endpoint name, which is slash on. That is the base thing. But remember, one is post request, the other one is get request. So there is a difference between the two. All right. So I would leave that as it is. I would say job. Okay, this will be jobs because the base router is jobs. Uh, and this is going to be a post request. I would save it. Similarly, I'm going to create a new request here. I would rename it and I would say get job postings. And this is going to be jobs. Right. Now, we will have to define all the body parameters while creating a new job posting. So in order to do that, I would move to job posting controller and would take this from here and would put it here, right? So title is going to be say STE2 just for an example. Then we have brief, uh, you know, uh, full stack developer or something like that. You could have a as detailed brief as you might want to. Then minimum qualification is an enum, so we have to make sure that this value comes from one of the defined values. So minimum qualification, okay, here it is. So I would make it say graduate. Would make it of graduate level. Then the sector is again something that I have to pick from the enum. Sector, I would say finance. Just for an example, make it finance. And then the number of vacancies. Number of vacancies, let's say just one. Okay. Uh, just to beautify it, I hope I have all the required things in place, and now my server should be running. Yes, it is running. If I will hit the send request, what do you guys assume? What should happen? Should we get a new job posting created in the table? Should we get an error? Should we get an known error or a unexpected error? Well, for now, it is simple enough that we should be getting an expected error saying that the token is not supplied. So if I click on this send button, I am saying authorization header is missing here, right? Maybe if I go to this, middleware user auth, maybe I should not say it error. I would make it error handler, and I would explicitly say it to be unauthorized, so that it they don't end up being an internal server error in case the authentication token was not provided. Now, if I come back and hit the send button, so it says 401 unauthorized and authorization header is missing. So let us do quickly one thing. Let us go to login and let me request a new authentication token with these credentials, the one that we used in the last lecture. So yes, here is the authentication token. I'll copy this from here and I'll paste it in the new header, and that header is going to be authorization with the value being what? Bearer space and actual token. Now, once I do that and click on send button, it says null value in column number of applicants of relation job postings violate not null constraints. So that means number of applicants is something that we have not provided. So coming back to the job posting controller, what we are missing here is, let me take a look at the job posting thing. And here, the number of applicants for the very first time when uh, a job posting is getting created, what should happen is this should actually be initialized with the default value of 0. Okay. So now I would have to delete the table and recreate it in the database once again. Versus instead of doing that, what would I do is I would make use of this UI. I would go to the structure part and I would say number of applicants nullable is true, and sorry, not nullable is kind. This value cannot be nullable, and I'm setting the default value to be 0. Okay. Now, if I'll try to hit the same endpoint, click on the send button. And in that case, we get the success message that the job posting has now been created. And if I come back to my database, look at the data, refresh it, then you could see that a new posting has now been created. Looking at the ID, this is a UID that the database has created on its own. Similarly, I could create as many as job postings as I require. So let me quickly create 2 more job openings. Let's say one is for SDE2, another one is SDE3. Then one can be uh, tester, uh, and I would change the description to be someone who can write unit test, uh, uh, okay. For now, let's leave it very basic. It could be any type of description that you may want to have. I'll click on send. Now we should have 3 job postings being created, and you could see that each of this job posting is created by a single user, having ID 7. That's great. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go to the job posting here, and this actually requires a couple of query params. One is for page number, other one is for page size and page number. But in case I don't provide any, this will be assumed to be taking the value 10 in 1 for page size and page number respectively. So only thing that I would do here is I would get this token, and I will make sure that I add this token here. Token here. And now if I click on send here, then you could see I am getting a total of 3 job postings, right? SDE2, SDE3, and a tester. Now, if I want to actually make use of the pagination, what I'm going to do is I am going to add the params here. The first param is going to be page number. The second is going to be page size. Now you can see that as an as and when I am adding these query params, you are getting these values being added into the request URL itself. So page number, let's say 1, and the page size, let's say 1. Okay, there is a spelling problem in the page size. Yep, all right. Now if I click on send, I should get total as 3 only, but in the postings array, I should be getting only 1 posting. Okay, so if I click on send here, you could see the total is still 3, but the postings array resulted in only 1 element because we restricted the page size to be 1. And now remember that this is tester. If I say the page number to be 2 and click on send again, then now the opening is SDE3. If I change the page number to 3 and click on send, then it is SDE2, right? So changing the page number is also changing the data. But what happens if I have page number as 1 and page size 2? So clicking on send would get us 2 job postings, SD3 and tester, but still showing total as 3. But if I change the page number to 2 and the page size to 2, what do you think? How many entries will we get? We are going to get only 1 entry because only 2 entity exist with the matching criteria. Now, no matter what the page size is, if you don't have those many rows available or that many data available, you won't be able to get it from the backend. All right, so that's fine. So you could see that how easy it was to create or implement these couple of controllers for creating a job posting, as well as to get a view of all the job postings that were created by a specific recruiter. With the pagination, kind of included with those implementations. So this was a basic demonstration for the recruiter APIs, where a recruiter might want to work with job postings, be it creating it or viewing the past ones. So that's all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to focus on the job application part of this platform, and that is almost going to be the last lecture for this project series, where we'll just implement functionalities for a candidate to be able to apply to certain job postings, and a recruiter be able to perform actions on the applications received from the candidates. So thanks thank you for watching this.